Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Bed Tech Show, where your hosts, Ben and Ethan, are here to discuss some important tech news here at bedtime. We've got a great show for you. Today, we're going to be discussing some of the latest developments in the world of artificial intelligence, since that is all the rage these days and has really kind of become mainstream here. We're going to be talking, this is going to include the lawsuit that involves Microsoft and OpenAI, a new AI language model for Microsoft OpenAI, a new chatbot from Google, and a new feature in Google Maps, and a groundbreaking decision made by a judge using AI technology. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with this class action lawsuit with Microsoft and OpenAI. Go ahead here and show my screen. So it looks like Microsoft and OpenAI are in a class action lawsuit that has been filed against them. According to The Verge, the lawsuit alleges that Microsoft and OpenAI used training data that was copyrighted without permission, leading to a violation of intellectual property rights. And, this gets into a lot of issues where it comes to copyright and who owns the copyright when it comes to AI, and also about the transparency and responsibilities of the use of data for companies, especially when it comes to AI and development. So, Ben, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. How do you think this lawsuit is going to affect how the world views and utilizes AI in the future?
Yeah, great question. I think there's already a lot of skeptics around AI, around whether or not it's accurate, whether or not it provides credit to where credit is due, and how interpretive it is versus a copy and paste. There's a lot of skeptics, especially in the arts, right? A lot of artists, they're frustrated with AI art because they think that it just is like copy and paste, right? In this instance, this is with coding and software development, and the issue here in this article is it's not just taking influence from other people's code that's open source. It's taking direct open source code from people and just spitting it back out verbatim, right? The exact coding. There's a tweet in here. I think it's Tim Davis right here. He's talking about his open source code, which open source, if you don't know, it's a very strong community in the coding and development world where people share open source to give each other ideas, but there's these ethics of providing credit of who created that code that you're using for open source and giving credit where credit's due, right? You can see in this line, anyone reusing the code to credit its creditors, Copilot has been found to regurgitate long sections of licensed code without providing credit. That's the big issue here with this lawsuit. And so this could impact the community in a couple different ways. It would detract people from wanting to do open source, which means less sharing of code, less ideas, less brainstorming amongst the community, and a lot more people are just tunnel vision, siloed. There's not as much development. There's not as much progression in coding. Or this could go to the developers of AI. And what I think is what's going to happen is it's going to push developers of AI to ensure that there is responsibility from what the AI pushes out. There's right now, it's so young that I think there's no accountability. Like I said, of a couple different things: the accuracy, the sourcing, the reliability. And you can kind of say like the accuracy versus reliability. These are things that because AI is so young, we haven't come across situations where we need laws or accountability or responsibility. That's the direction I think we're going to go to. I think developers of AI are going to have to be accountable for what their AI pumps out, because they're the ones creating it and allowing their software to consume and also to express and share information. So that's my thought. I think this is honestly, I think this is kind of like a quick fix. It's like I only think that Copilot just needs to provide a creditor whenever they provide answers around coding. It's just like, just provide a creditor of what sources you got this from. And I think that's going to fix it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are your
Um,
thoughts?
yeah, I think a lot of the same lines there. It gets a lot into copyright law. And, with copyright law, it's a pretty interesting standard. Copyright usually is it lasts for the life of the creator plus 70 years. So when somebody creates something, they own the copyright for that for their entire life plus 70 years. If you have a corporation, and that's really why all stems from Disney and their
I was gonna say
creation.
Mickey Mouse has like a
Yeah.
big impact on that, right?
Yeah, actually, all copyright law is really based out of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Go
and,
ahead.
and because of that. So I mean that's a whole nother topic that I'd be happy to get to in another time. But anyway, it really comes. So if this is just spitting out copyrighted information and not doing that, really, the people that own the copyright, they have the license to that, and they can determine how it is used and in what way. It also brings up the question, though, if AI is creating something unique and one of a kind, who then owns the copyright at that point?
Mm,
Because if the AI is truly artificial intelligence, could have the ability to create on
yeah.
its own.
And it's his own copyright.
Yeah. And at that point, where would the copyright be? So, this brings up some
Mm,
really interesting implications. And I think this is going to shape and affect future copyright laws and going forward, and the the scope of intellectual property within the legal field.
yeah. You
So
make some really good points, actually. I think like let's take your example of if AI is truly absorbing multiple sources and creating something new on its own, who gets the credit of the copyright? One could argue the person that prompted the AI to produce that
right.
that
Y-
content. But then I could see the company who owns the AI being like, no, no, no. Everything that you pump out that you want to use for like commercial use, that's our copyright and we want a piece of the pie.
mhm.
Ah, man. The laws
Yes.
around this are going to be crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, we've even got another article that kind of gets a little sticky on laws too that we'll get later on into this episode. So, I mean, yeah, this brings up a lot of interesting things. And, I think it's um, going to be really important for companies to ensure that they're really transparent on what data they're using if they are pulling stuff from this to state, hey, we developed this code from here using AI. And if it does have copyrighted material, they definitely need to give credit to that. And whatever licensing agreement needs to be there, that needs to happen as well. I think
Yeah.
transparency is going to be huge in order to try and limit the backlash that might come from this, or the stems that will come from this lawsuit.
Yeah, I agree. Another thought I had was when AI gets to a point where it truly is creative and creating on its own, how different is that going to be just from, for example, a consultant? Let's say you have a software engineer who has been exposed to code across the board for big tech. This is just hypothetical.
Hmm.
And you hire this software engineer, and you're like, hey, can you write me a code to create like a new app that has like a search engine on it? And he provides code that he's creating, but it's influenced from all these different resources that he's absorbed, right? But
Mhm.
he's creating something new. And so my thought is AI will get to a point where it's not any different from regular humans. Everything that we produce is based off of some influence somewhere, right?
Right.
Um, I mean, rarely you have instances where people just they have dreams of something, or they have like a vision, and I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
had a dream of this creation, but that's like so far and few in
So
between.
unique.
Yes, so
Yeah.
you. So I'm not
Um,
going to go there, but you know what I mean.
yeah.
You
I
understand
mean,
what I think you get it.
yeah, the old cliche is there's nothing new under the sun. I
Yeah,
and because there's so much out there, so information that we have, it's really hard to find something truly unique and something truly new. I mean, a lot of a lot of creations do come from other experiences, other various parts. I mean, for in this example, other various codes to come up with something that might tailor to that specific situation. And
mhm.
I mean, I think that's a really great point. AI at some point will be just pulling stuff and creating something unique, tailored for that specific situation.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And
and at that point, it would be able to circumvent copyright law.
yeah, that was the question I wanted to get to. Was like, at what point does it get to where the AI doesn't need to disclose what sources it's getting it from? Like, how unique does it have to be? I think that's where's black and white for me. Is it gray area? I don't. It's just, yeah, it's just going to be so interesting to see. And I think currently in the real world we have that with humans. People go
Mm.
into lawsuit. They're like, hey, that's copyright or trademark, and then they go to court for it and they argue why it's not or why it isn't. We see the cookie wars in Utah with
Mhm.
Crumble and Doe, Dirty Doe. I don't know, because it's like they have like copyright and trademark
Yeah.
issues. Anyway, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It's just enhances the current situation in the real world.
Yeah. It's going to bring um, another level to case law when it comes into the world of intellectual property. And as people go in for lawsuits that are similar, these types of cases are really going to shape how future laws, future litigation comes out. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty interesting landscape. All right, next, we've got Microsoft and OpenAI and their new integration with ChatGPT. So recently, Microsoft just had their event with ChatGPT being integrated in with Bing. Um, there were several announcements made at this event, and the biggest announcement was the release of their new AI language model, ChatGPT, being integrated into Bing and a wider range of organizations. And it seems to be a significant development for merging an AI chatbot model into an internet search engine and what impacts it will have here on our society. This was a pretty big, big deal because I know that Microsoft put in got about a 49% share in OpenAI to be able to make this happen, and it is available now. Essentially, you can use Chat GPT within Bing. So I think this is kind of interesting. However, I wanted to get your opinion on whether you think it was the right move, whether you agree with Microsoft integrating ChatGPT into Bing, or whether they should have created their own search engine, kind of like from the ground up, to
Mm,
bring ChatGPT into it.
yeah. Personally, I think uh, I don't know if it necessarily matters. I think people are just attracted to the idea that there's AI associated with their search engine, whether it was Bing or not. I don't think people really care. I can understand why they have Bing. They already have the infrastructure from a software standpoint, right? Why create a brand new search engine and have to like recreate all that architecture when you already have one? So personally, I understand. I get why they did Bing. I don't think it really matters if it would have mattered if they created a new one or not. If anything, it gives Bing extra muscles and steroids to take on Google. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a huge increase in usage of Bing compared to what it was in the past. Bing, no one cared about Bing,
Yeah. Very true.
right? No one cared about Bing. And so, yeah, I don't think it matters whether they created a new one or not, but I think what matters is that they have Chat GPT integrated with a search engine and web browser. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, I think, for me, I mean, I started daily driving being yesterday and today, and I've never really been a huge fan of being. I mean, everybody loves Google. There's a reason why Google has a really good search algorithm and why its user base is as high as it is. However, introducing this AI chatbot into being as another realm of where you can get information is a complete game changer. And to me, I think, Microsoft or Google looking at this is like, oh, we've got to come up with an answer. And I don't know that we have a good answer to this current situation. Right now, Microsoft has a huge leg up being able to have this exclusively for their search engine.
Yeah,
And
and they have OpenAI is just doing pretty cool stuff.
yeah,
I mean, Microsoft doesn't have to like spin up the whole division. They just they're investors in OpenAI, and OpenAI is specialized in this. They're the ones
mhm,
doing it. Google's trying to compete, and I feel like they're the ones that are like they're trying to catch up every step, and they're 1,000 steps behind.
yeah.
Maybe not, but they're definitely behind.
And now they're going to be fighting against something that has the ability to fight back without human interaction, essentially.
Yeah,
Uh, so, I mean, honestly, I think, there have been some limitations. I mean, me daily driving being the last couple of days, I have seen some of the limitations with just regular search queries and
really.
whatnot, and
Hmm.
just getting, I would say, easier information in there, but being able to use Chat GPT as a part of those searches does help close that gap and bring out the edge to Microsoft and being a little bit more.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Has it changed your search prompts and how you approach them? Because currently, when I Google something, I just type in the keywords. If I'm looking for like a really good snowboard that's for like all mountain use, park, powder, groomers, whatever. I just type in like best all mountain snowboard, and then like
Mhm.
I'll get like articles. Whereas like Chat GPT, I'd be like, provide me top 10 snowboards for all mountain use. My prompt is a little different, I feel like.
Yeah. My prompts have definitely had to be altered using Bing, as I
Hmm.
would have with Google, because I agree with you. I would use Google the same way, just using keywords mostly. But now, with that, I feel like you can be a little bit more specific and have more natural language vernacular with your
Hmm.
search queries to get something specifically tailored to exactly what you want. Um,
Interesting. Yeah.
and that ability to have something specifically tailored to your situation at that particular time provides such a useful efficiency and a useful tool in what you're doing, whether it's work or with your personal development or whatnot, personal work. Um, it it provides an extreme level of efficiency that
Mm,
can leverage a whole lot of time saving.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's crazy how you can just get so unique. You get answers that are so unique and specific to what you need. Whereas before, you'd probably have to search the internet for the general topic and then dig deep into like Reddit threads for your exact situation, or some kind of community where it's an actual person posting a relatable subject that's like someone in the realm of what you want. And this is just, you get exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I think with
cool.
this, Microsoft has a huge edge, and for lack of a better term, they are miles ahead of Google at this point. And
Yeah.
I know Google is trying to scramble to try and catch up. And this next article that we have here about Google's AI chatbot is kind of proof that they are trying, and it may not have worked out in their best interest in what they were
Yeah.
wanting here.
Bard,
Yeah.
the inaccuracy.
So Google has been moving in.
What a name.
I
Bard.
know, Bard.
You don't come up with
Um,
something better?
yeah, I would have come up with something better.
At least
However,
Tony Stark's barf was like funny, you know?
yeah, maybe they should have done barf. That's a missed opportunity. So, with this, they have this other chat bot called Bard as a part of Google, and it's been criticized for providing inaccurate information to users. It highlights the need for companies to ensure accuracy of the information provided by AI systems, especially when they're being used to make decisions that could impact people's lives. What are some of your thoughts with Bard and Google?
Yeah. First of all, I think it's kind of interesting that in their advertisement, they have inaccurate information. I think that's how it was discovered. It was like either a
Yes.
demo or an ad or
Yeah, it
something.
was right in their advertisement.
Yeah, that's so embarrassing. How do you miss that? Um, but then it just kind of gets down to what I was saying before, that I'm sure Chat GPT has had inaccurate information.
Oh, yes.
It just wasn't at the same exposure that this was. This was a
Mhm.
marketing ad. Chat GPT doesn't really need any marketing because everyone's talking about it. But I think it's important that either users understand that this is information coming from the internet and not everything on the internet is accurate. Therefore, the results of my prompts, the answers to my prompts could be inaccurate. Or, you need these AI creators are going to have to provide some accountability and responsibility. And I think that's what we were talking about in the first article,
Yeah.
was if they don't have a little bit of accountability for accuracy, they're going to be in deep waters, because they're going to be, either getting into copyright and trademark like we currently seeing. They're going to be getting into, misdiagnosis of individuals with health, or, misdiagnosis of like fixing something around your house or your car. There's a lot of issues that could come up of it, come up because of it. I mean, why have an AI chatbot if it's not going to provide accurate information? That's the entire goal, right?
Right.
Um,
It becomes pretty much useless if it's providing inaccurate information that people can't rely on.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so I think the goal of the creators is to provide accurate information. I'm sure that's difficult to do. It's beyond the scope of my knowledge or expertise. With that being said, there is a responsibility of users. Whenever you Google something online, you got to know, like, not everything that you get as an answer is going to be an accurate answer, right? Especially, well, I don't know, whatever. I was going to say, like, especially if you like go into something that's like wishy-washy, like
Oh, yeah.
politics. And anyway, the point I'm making is there's two sides to this coin. One, the creators want to have a reliable and trusting bot. And so they're going to have to up the ante on their responsibility. The other side of the coin, too, users just need to understand this is coming from the internet. Not everything on the internet is accurate. And therefore, I need to treat it as such. This might not necessarily be accurate. So do your own research, you know?
Do you think it's the responsibility of companies, or the responsibility falls more on the users to determine the reliability of information? Or
I
is
think
it equally
great
on
question.
both?
Great question. Initially I want to say it's equally on both, but honestly, I think it's a responsibility of the user. I personally think it's the responsibility of the user. And you know what's going to happen? Let's say Google continues with Bard and Bard is continually pumping out trash information. Users are going to catch on and they'll be like, bro, Bard does not provide any accurate information. And what's going to happen? The consumer's not going to use it. They're not going to absorb it. They're not going to continue to use Bard. It's just like with a fast food restaurant. Is it on the responsibility of the user or the fast food? I mean, right now, FDA is on the responsibility of the restaurant. But the point I'm making is if word gets out that the restaurant's pumping out either bad food or food that makes you sick or terrible flavor, the consumer is not going to partake. And therefore, the restaurant is either going to die or they're going to have to change to make it reliable, good, a great experience for the user. And so personally, I think it's more on the user. Well, yeah, I think it's more on the user.
Interesting.
I personally think it's more on the user. I think the user should just be aware that you're using something that's new, it's young, it's complicated. It's not as easy as you think it is to just tell the AI, be like, hey, be accurate, you know? Um, and I think consumers will tell by their own actions whether or not they like the product and whether or not the product is actually honest and true and a reliable source. Those are my thoughts. Maybe it is more on the company,
See,
but
for me, while I do think it's there's a responsibility for both parties, I think it more falls on the company to
hmm,
ensure that they are providing that accurate information. Because, right now, to me, Google is kind of advertising and selling this product to consumers. And right now, they haven't verified that the information that's coming out of this is accurate enough to be sold. And so they're selling it, and now people are consuming potential inaccurate knowledge where they could have had that opportunity to have the due diligence to verify whether it is correct before they sold it to consumers. So,
I think that's fair. But I guess it comes down to the packaging of how they're selling their product and service,
mhm,
right? If you just say like, hey, this is a virtual assistant, it it's an AI and it uses the web. But I don't know. I think it comes down to a matter of like, are they marketing it as something that's reliable, that is 100% accurate or 90, 99%, 95%, 90% accurate, whatever. Or because I think of people that are just like scammers, or not even just scammers, but just people that just sell junk, you
mhm,
know, like on eBay, you can buy a box of an iPhone and they will tell you like, this is a box of an iPhone. And then people buy it thinking it's an iPhone and then they get pissed off. They're like, what the freak?
right,
Where's my iPhone? And it's like, I told you, it's the box of an
but
iPhone, man. Like, that's not on me. That's on you. So I feel like it's the
right.
same, where they create an AI and it's like, hey, this is an AI. It's going to provide you information if you ask it. Don't know if it's accurate or not, but use it. It's cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if a company discloses, everything, they're disclosing that, hey, this isn't accurate. I would say that would be enough to shift the liability onto the consumer. Because
Yeah.
going to your eBay example, I've seen that, they say, hey, this is a box of an iPhone. Technically, they have disclosed everything possible for the consumer. And then at that point, it is up to the consumer to have the ability for abstract thought to determine that is just the box of an iPhone.
So I guess it comes down to marketing and false advertising.
Mhm.
And does there need to be a proactive advertising, maybe like just like a footnote of like ChatGPT has been known to be 87% accurate in its factual search queries? Because there's different queries and prompts you could ask it. You could ask for like brainstorming, like give me a list of like 20 gym company names. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't really care about this. There's nothing factual about that. That's just brainstorming, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like the marketing, like
Yeah.
like how they package it. There's gonna be lawsuits about that, bro.
Yeah, oh,
You know
yeah,
there is.
for sure. This is gonna be extremely litigious, and
What a headache.
yeah.
What a headache.
So,
You should switch your law specialization to AI law.
I should, we could make a fortune off of that
Probably could.
because, I mean, this is going to be, I mean, we're already starting to see some of these things um, coming into the legal system and, bringing other aspects like false advertising and how that interplays with AI is going to be really interesting.
Mm,
And is comes down, really whether AI should be regulated or not, whether the government needs to step in. However, I think that's kind of a sticky issue because, I think some if the government's going to regulate it, they need to understand it. And
yeah,
a lot of people don't really understand what this is, the implications, how useful it is, or how detrimental it can be.
I agree. I agree. I think the people that do know all this, that are experts in this area, they're not working for the government.
Right. They're
Maybe
not.
they maybe they're contracting with the government, but like every once in a while they have a contract with the government because the government will give them buco bucks.
Yeah.
But they're not working for the government to create regulation around it. That's definitely not what they're doing.
Right. Um, and I mean, they're not even judges either that could have the ability to shape laws for these. So, you know, it it's going to be interesting to see whether um, our the infrastructure of government legal system can keep up with the implications that AI is going to have for our future.
I would not be surprised if there is some major event that has a negative impact on the economy because of AI and some kind of investments or whatever. And as a result, there is massive change in law. You know what I mean? I feel like that's
Yeah.
happened with new technology, right? New technology comes aboard. Um, Laws are not implemented to regulate it because it's just not understandable or experience hasn't happened yet. And then as a result, a lot of people take advantage of this free open area where there's, it's the Wild West with no litigation or no laws. And then people get screwed over big time.
Hmm.
That's going to happen. And
Yeah.
then everyone's gonna be like, wake up and be like, okay, holy crap. A lot of crap could happen because of this. We need to really understand it, get some kind of committee get together that's made up of experts, that's, unbiased, or there's checks and balances, something. I don't know. That's my thought. I think that's what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
I, I agree. That definitely has the potential, probably Skynet's going to come, Judgment Day,
It'll be
all of
too
that.
late.
Yeah, it'll be too late at
We
that
must go
point.
back in time.
Sarah Connor. Oh, all right. Uh, with that, um, kind of going into the law and how AI is affecting that, there has been a judge in Colombia that has used ChatGPT to render a court decision.
This is wild, bro. This is
Y-
so crazy.
Yeah, this was a groundbreaking decision by a judge using AI technology. According to Vice, a judge used ChatGPT to help make a court decision, making the first time that AI technology has been used in this way. This is a significant development, and it raises some important ethical questions and the role of AI in the legal system, and especially the potential implications for the justice system. So this was a judge in the First Circuit Court of the city of Cartagena. And it it was obviously something that was it happened here at the beginning of the year, and the judge was able to use this to help influence and render a court decision in the legal proceedings. It was a dispute with health insurance over whether an autistic child should receive coverage for medical treatment. So, what do you think some of the potential consequences of relying on AI technology are in making court decisions that
All
affect
right.
people's lives?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we already talked about the accuracy of it. We don't know how accurate everything is. We've already seen Bard is inaccurate. We've already seen bias with ChatGPT. And I have also seen multiple times people provide the same prompt, but with the opposite request. For example, argue to me why ChatGPT should be used in schools. Argue to me why ChatGPT shouldn't be used in schools. And it provides arguments on both sides. There's not a real significant winner. And so if you have like leading bias in your prompt, it's going to give you what you're looking for. And so
Mhm.
if this judge uses ChatGPT, I think there needs to be an audit of what prompts they used. And I also just don't believe it's fully reliable. Not
Yeah.
in a judgment.
Yeah,
Why
I
have
agree
a
with that.
judge if you're gonna just ask the freaking AI bot, bro? I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, if you're a judge, you have your own legal team. I mean, you've got attorneys and clerks that work for you that can do this. Essentially, all you need to do is tell them to find the answer, and they find the answer for you.
yeah,
Um, you know, with me, I I think the idea is very interesting and kind of cool to think that AI could help. However, seeing how me using it in my line of work, how it interplays with the law, and having it help with um, certain legal issues and regulations, I've seen a lot of inaccuracies. And with that, it has been hard for me to rely on using it for shaping an opinion or an argument when it comes to the law and the legality of certain issues and regulations within the law.
I
So,
agree.
with this, I I don't think the judge should have solely relied or even used um, information from a chatbot AI system to render that legal decision. However, I
I
do
agree.
think using AI as a way of optimizing other tasks within the legal realm and within your job duties is perfectly acceptable and perfectly fine.
I
So
agree.
it,
And that
it
that
really
I didn't read
comes,
the article. That might be what the judge did, was just using AI to, I don't know, quickly script up a draft for the response. I don't know.
yeah, I'm not certain either. Um, and with this, it gets into a lot of ethical issues as far as, this decision affects people's lives. It's not just something that affects him, but it affects other people's lives. And if it's not accurate, he's rendering a decision based on something else. And then, you know, the parties, it, if they know that this is wrong, they're going to have to appeal the decision, and it's going to require more legal action, more time and money. to be able to get to the correct outcome, or a just outcome, I should say.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I also think we've already talked about the inaccuracies. There's bias. It's just so unreliable to make a substantial decision on individuals' lives, right? But
Mhm.
now on top of that, I think AI is still so young that it's only absorbing information that is easily interpreted, and it's not able to distinguish different values, intrinsic values, or intrinsic impacts, whether they be negative on people's lives. I don't think AI can measure the scope or the weight of actions performed by humans. For example, can how does AI rank different misdemeanors? How does it rank different felonies? How does it know the weight of each one? Because
It would have to be a quantifiable number within the
exactly,
algorithm.
exactly. Qualitative, I don't think it's at the point where it can measure it. And a lot of judgment in court cases is based on intrinsic value or value that's established by human morals and ethics. And also, it's based on qualitative natures.
Mhm.
And to use AI is a bold move, in my opinion. If I was on the wrong side of the decision here, oh man, I'd be so mad. I would appeal. I'd be
Yeah,
so frustrated hearing about AI technology being used as a decision maker. That would really piss me off.
yeah.
So,
And then, as a judge, this really gets at your credibility too. And
yeah,
and it affects that. And now knowing that this would come out of a court case, that pretty much shatters your credibility for anything going forward.
yeah. Like I don't know how it works in Colombia. Honestly, I don't even know how like judges are selected here in the US, but yeah, I agree. Credibility out the door. To me, it's like, are you that unaware of the law or that lazy that you don't want to make a decision on your own? You have to use an AI to like decide, make a decision.
Hmm.
What is compelling you to leverage AI in this decision? I don't, yeah, I don't think it's necessary, and nor is appropriate.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's appropriate. And, it with that, it brings up a lot of ethical questions and potential violations of um, just from a simple act of trying to make your job a little bit easier and
Yeah.
using AI. So interesting stuff to think about here. Um, and with that, we'll kind of take a break from AI a little bit and come up with a little fun story that we found. It looks like Google has announced a little bit of an integration with Google Maps and the iPhone and iOS. So they announced that the Google Apps map will offer live activities and live support within the dynamic island of the iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Mac. It'll allow them to receive real-time ETAs, directions for driving, biking, walking, public transportation, and they'll be able to utilize the dynamic island for certain things when it comes to map related activities. So it's pretty interesting. Apple Maps has had this. Now it'll be nice that Google Maps has this feature as a part of it, because I think Google Maps has quite a few features that are superior to Apple Maps. Unfortunately, I have to use both. I haven't found an end all be all for one of them,
Yeah.
but it's nice to see some of these features coming to Google Maps as well.
I think
What
I'm
are
just
your thoughts
trying
on
to,
this?
yeah, I'm trying to understand here. So it sounds like it's kind of like, the Apple Ways.
Hmm.
Is that kind of the idea about just saying like it's just giving you more real time update on your current directions and events that are happening around you?
Yeah, it'll do that. Um, and as well, like if you are not directly in the app, um, some of those directions and live updates will be within the top portion of that dynamic island that's within the iPhone 14 Pro.
Hmm,
So essentially, even if you're not interacting with the app at that particular time, you'll be able to receive some real-time notifications for it.
that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think the more real time information I get, the better it is for everyone to have decision making that will make their lives happier, more efficient, more accurate. Yeah, I just think I think this is good development. I don't think this is life changing or anything.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree. Definitely not life-changing, but
it's
something nice
nice.
to have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like better user experience. That's good. Personally, if we're gonna go the Apple Maps versus Google Maps debate, I'm a Google Map. Wait, no, hold on, bro. Let me check. Let me just confirm here. I'm an Apple Maps guy. That's what I am.
Oh,
I'm an
interesting.
Apple Maps guy because every time I try Google Maps, it's the wrong address. I'm driving. I'm like, this is not even close to where it is. It's only happened once to me on Apple Maps. Only
Really
once. Mhm.
interesting.
And I cannot tell you how many times it's happened to me on Google Maps. It's happened way too often. Um, when I use Apple Maps, I do get those live updates like speed check ahead, hazard
Mhm.
ahead, and things like that, which are really nice. Which is really nice. I think the UI, I think it's just easier with it's. I don't know, for some reason on Apple Maps, I think it's just easier. And honestly, I use Apple Maps as like a search engine. If there's a company I want to call or want to know the hours or anything, I'll just use Apple Maps and it'll show me everything in my area. And then I
Mhm.
can like choose. I'm like, oh, this one is, open till 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. or whatever. I use it as a search engine for businesses, honestly.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I use it for
I've
a
never done
lot.
that before.
Yeah. So like if Nicia, my wife, Nicia, if she like has something she needs to return to Target, she'll be like, oh, I don't know what time Target closes. I'm not gonna Google it. That's what Nicia will do. She'll Google it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to Apple Maps. I'm gonna type in Target, and it tells me, okay, the one in American Fork is closed, the one in Orem's closed, all these are closed. Then like, oh, this one here in Taylorsville, it's open for another half hour. I'll call them. It has the phone number there, has the stars review from Yelp, all there. I just think the user interface is better. That's if it's any business that I'm like
Mhm.
trying to look up or like any kind of like event, maybe not event, but like any kind of business that I'm looking for, like ski shops,
Yeah,
snowboard shops, whatever. Apple Maps. I don't even use Google for that. I use Apple
interesting.
Maps. Yeah, it gives me my answers faster.
Oh, that is
So
very interesting. Because
I
yeah, I've
prefer
never
Apple
done it.
Maps.
I've never done it to search just businesses. Like usually I'll just go through Google to do that. And I use Google Maps a little bit more than I use Apple Maps simply because I think sharing a destination is easier from Google Maps than it is Apple Maps.
Mm.
So this is kind of a unique case, but with Tesla, you can share like your destination directly to your Tesla app. And what that'll do is that'll push
Oh,
the directions to your car.
that's
So
actually pretty cool.
so, for instance, like if I was out and about and my wife said, "Hey, I need you to go pick this up for me," she can push the directions directly to the car. It'll automatically navigate there for me, and I can be lazy and I don't have to do anything within the car or anything. It just takes me there, which is kind of nice.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm looking at Google Maps right now, and it looks very similar. The reviews are Google reviews instead of like Yelp
Mhm.
reviews, but yeah, it's very
I would
similar.
agree with I would agree with you. I think the UX for Apple Maps is a little bit more appealing, and I would say it's a little bit softer on the eyes, whereas Google Maps is a little bit harsher.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
which
like
I
it's
never
harder for
thought I would
you.
ever, never thought I would say that about an app experience or
Yeah,
anything. But
sorry, one sec. Oh, I was about to sneeze. Oh, baby. That's really annoying, actually, that I didn't go through with it. I got the urge and I got the itch and it went
I know,
away.
because I was about to say, was it like a sneeze, only better?
No, it was worse. I got a tease. That's what I got.
Got a tease.
A good sneeze is when you get a strong itch and you freaking power through that in a sneeze. That's a good sneeze.
That is a good
It's like you
sneeze.
let it out, boom, and then you're done with it. And you're like, oh, I hit the spot. But then when you
Yeah,
get you get a strong itch and then it goes away, ooh, that's annoying.
yeah, that is annoying because it it denied you the um
Satisfaction.
the satisfaction. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Frustrated right now.
yeah.
I'm gonna go get some black pepper, snort it so I can sneeze.
So you can sneeze. I like it. All right. Well, that was just kind of some of the latest developments that we've had here in the world of artificial intelligence and within tech. We've gone from lawsuits and AI language models to chatbots and the new features with Google Maps. This is a pretty exciting time for the industry. And, we're sure to see some more advancements as they come through. And with that, Ben and I, we are going to be covering that for you as fast as we can with our weekly podcast here. So we want to have a big shout out for everyone for your support in listening to our channel. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up. And if you didn't, that other button seems to do all right as well. Make sure that you ringling that dingling button so that you are always notified when we have new content coming to the channel. And as well, we'll catch you all in the next one. So have a good evening and stay classy.
Peace.